And now, let's talk about last year too, because this all happened last year. This happened because Kenosha. Were you in Kenosha?
Yeah, Adam, I was actually 3 blocks away
I thought
from the
so.
shooting. Yep.
So you were actually in Kenosha when this was all going down. You saw the stuff. I saw a lot of your footage. I know that you were filming. You've covered a lot of incredible events over the last year, and we're going to get into it in a little bit. That you're covering the border and what's going down down over there, which is incredible. But you were there, and these people are trying to tell us that it didn't actually happen. That buildings weren't being burned last summer, and that if you believe that, then you're a conspiracy theorist. This is actually what's going on right now. Like, what do you have to say about that as you were actually there?
I would have to say so. I mean, just to let everyone know, so I covered the George Floyd Black Lives Matter riots all summer, multiple cities. I mean, from Seattle to Portland to New York to Atlanta, Kenosha. Out of all those cities, Kenosha was by far the worst because just of first of all, just a lack of law enforcement. I mean, you look left or right, there wasn't a National Guard on site, there wasn't any police officers, and it just seemed like almost every single building was on fire. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, from the car stores, the furniture stores. I believe they even burned down a bank while I was there with Elijah Schaefer covering
Wow.
that side by side. So it was chaos. It was destruction at, like I said, levels I've never seen it before. And you know what? The stuff that never makes the national news, Adam, is the next morning after the first 2 nights of these riots. The next morning, me and Elijah Schaefer, we spent time going down those roads and interviewing all the business owners to tell their story and just to see how heartbroken they were,
Yeah.
for them to have nothing in this fight and now their dreams destroyed. We met with grown men that were crying because their fathers and mothers built that business and passed it down to them, and they were going to pass it down to their kids. So that's the stuff that never makes the national news of just the effect on the local community. But it was
Yeah.
by far out of any city, it was like I said, it was the worst. It was the lack of law enforcement. The rioters could do whatever they want, and I love that none of the rioters got put on trial. No one cares about any of these rioters crossing state lines to go to a city that they've never been to before to wreak havoc on the city. So that's the stuff that never makes national media is all those locals whose lives are changed forever because of those events. Those and look, and the people who committed those criminal acts have never been put on trial. No one has been charged
Nope.
for rioting or arson connected to this. So that's, I think, the most disgusting part of all of this.
Yeah, it's really sad. And these people now the reason behind them going out and burning down small businesses, I feel is can get pretty dark and conspiratorial even. Like, why are small businesses being targeted? Why is because it's not just Kenosha. It wasn't just the Twin Cities in Minneapolis area. Starting with the George Floyd stuff, or even everywhere. I mean, I was living in the boonies in Jersey at the time, and stores around me were boarding up, and I'm like, wow, everyone's boarding up because everyone was worried because small businesses were being destroyed all across the country, and that now we're seeing this. Okay, this is a tweet that I saw floating around. This is from was it from yesterday? It's from yesterday. It's from Thomas Ricks. Who's this guy? He's a writer. In fact, my presumption is that anyone tweeting that American cities burned last summer is either working for the Russians or a dumbass dupe of them. This is how they're portraying it, though. They're making it out that you're crazy. No, it was the summer of love. What are you talking about? No, the summer of love. We had people creating their own communities, Chaz, all that. Little did these people probably don't even realize that people are getting shot and killed in these places. And I mean, did you go to Chaz? I don't know if you
Yep, I
actually.
was in Chaz. We went undercover. I want
Not
to say, Adam,
surprised.
I must if I'm working for the Russians, I must not be getting a good salary picture because I'm still driving my same Honda Civic. So I wanted to say that, but one thing, there was also a period, and I remember in the summer because this tweet just reminded me of, there was a period where CNN had a couple reporters where they would show up to the Portlands in Seattle, and
Yeah.
they would just go to like a random park middle of the day and take one picture and say, "Oh my gosh, the
See.
city's burning," just kind of being sarcastic about it. But they
Mhm.
they never stick around and talk to those businesses. What I love about it too is Black Lives Matter. The whole summer they burned down black and brown businesses, so they literally, it affected the people that they were supposed to stand up for. So
It's
that's
crazy.
that's the stuff that never gets told. Also, when we were in Kenosha, there's a bunch of apartment buildings that had to put signs on the windows that say, "Kids live up here. Please don't burn the building."
It's so
Unfortunately,
sad.
some of those still came down.
It's so sad. These people are weaponizing hate and forcing it on people that have nothing to do with who they should be mad at, which are the elites, the people in control of. I don't know. It's like who should they be mad at, right? What do you think? Like, where's the actual how do I phrase this? Where is this strife really coming from?
Well, I just think that the kind of establishment, whether it's the politicians, media, or these kind of big businesses like the Amazon and corporations, they have all kind of worked together to kind of take out the middle class, destroy the middle class. So that's what we're seeing right
Yes.
now. All across the country. I'm from California, so in California, the middle
I'm
class
sorry.
is being destroyed. It's literally just the top and the bottom now, and
Yep.
everyone else is off to fend for themselves. So, well, we're also seeing people wake up and say, wait a minute, Amazon and Google and all these companies, they got to make all their profits during our shutdowns. You're really starting to see that anger. And I think a little
Yep.
bit of that is why we did see a January 6th, why we did see Americans at the Capitol, is because when you see these politicians continue to screw you over and never provide a helpline, they could shut down your business, but never provide a helpline. They shut down your schools while their kids went to private school. That really starts to anger. And I think more than ever, we're starting to see kind of this huge difference between the middle class and then the very top elites in this country. And it's also including the corporations. I think this is a side. This is beginning to really wake up with that populist movement on the right now that says, wait a minute, we first of all, we were all about capitalism and just kind of everything run wild, while these companies are actively against us conservatives. So we're also seeing kind of that populism movement wake up and say, wait a minute, maybe we should break up a Facebook. Maybe we should break up an Amazon. Maybe they are
Right.
getting too big and powerful. So,
well, those corporations are against free market, right? They're shutting down any competition, which isn't free market capitalism, which is good, right? Free market capitalism, that's what we want. We're turning it now we're like right on the verge of falling too far into corporatism, which is the corporations and the government work together, which is actually fascism if you really get to it.
But Adam, even when it
that's
comes
where we're
speech,
going.
like even when it comes to our speech and on the internet, we're letting a small group of individuals that live in Silicon Valley kind of be the publishers of speech, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, all these, on YouTube. You can't say anything about the election on YouTube. You can't say anything about vaccines because your account's going to be taken down. One thing that's also important to remember, there was leftist progressives that live stream J6, where all they did was live stream, provide no commentary. And then they sold that footage to CNN and NBC News and all these big companies. But then YouTube still took down their YouTube account. So it's not just a right thing. It's also on the left, where if you don't follow the narrative and walk in line, they'll do everything to take you out. We're just letting this small group in DC and Silicon Valley have power over the rest of us. It's hopefully people wake up, because it's fucking ridiculous.
And no one voted for these people, right? I mean,
Exactly.
they're just running on their own accord because they have the money, which is nuts. We're living in this era that's why I mentioned fascism, because it really is fascism when we the people, we don't have the control anymore. Now it's corporations. Mark Zuckerberg is deciding now he wants to buy the metaverse, which is the next evolution of the internet. I don't know if you know much about it. You know about Meta, right? How they changed their name. So, I'm into VR. I have a VR headset. I've done a bunch of it, and I like it. And I am a gamer, and I see that as the future of gaming. But I also see it as the future of communication and connection, which is because right now we're all interconnected. I'm not even sure where you are right now, but we're talking. You could be anywhere, right? Because it's just over the interwebs. It is the future, and they're trying to basically steal it out from under us instead of letting us have a say of what it is, because you said it, they are publishers, right? They should no longer be protected by Section 230. I mean, it needs to be rewritten as a whole, because free speech should be all encompassing on the internet, and it's not currently, and I think that's a terrible tragedy. But yeah, I think really what they're trying to do is destroy this country, right? I feel like this burning of down of our cities and not prosecuting the people that are burning it down, but then going after the people that are trying to stop them, because we see the government's not stopping them. Trump sent feds to Portland to stop that courthouse from being burnt down for months. How long were they trying to burn that courthouse down? Like
Oh,
6
I just
months?
remember that. Yeah, Portland. They went for over 100 days. Something
Over
that was
100
never
days.
seen before. Yeah, it was.
That's nuts.
And then what makes the situation worse too, Adam, is that the people we elect and are supposed to represent us and everything, they either sold out to China or these multinational corporations. So if you live in Michigan, Ohio,
Hmm.
or in Pennsylvania, you've seen those middle class good manufacturing jobs shipped off to China.
Yep.
And now you're seeing this fentanyl and opioids make its way to its communities, and then
Yep.
anytime American citizens like that lose good working jobs, high paying jobs, you're going to see divorce rates in this country. So this is how all these problems have just kind of stumbled on top of each other, from the border,
Compounding.
from the elected officials in DC, from Silicon Valley, and it just it feels like we're just getting hit from every single angle. And
Yep.
I don't know. It's just we're just going downhill, and it just feels like China's playing the long game, and they're kind of just almost just laughing at us, just kind
They're
of
sitting
watching the
back.
destruction, the collapse.
They're sitting back and watching us burn from within and going,
Mhm.
ha ha ha, our plan worked. Good. We'll give them a few years after this, all this, when their blood gets settled. That's as far as I want to push that scary non-joke